Hey everyone, today I have with me Ronnie Simmons, a rock star in the making and technically someone who's already made it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Ronnie Simmons. I'm originally born and raised in Newtown, pretty much where we are now, from Sydney, Australia. And I've been living in Los Angeles full-time for 3 years now. I currently play guitar for Richie Ramone, the drummer from the Ramones, Frankie and the Studs, a new Hollywood rock band. I'm also working on some new projects back here in Australia with some people as well.
When did you develop an interest in music?
It's for as long as I can remember. Like, I started playing the piano when I was about 4 years old. I have very, very few memories of that, but I started doing that, and that progressed into playing saxophone. And I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I got into playing saxophone, and about 9 I saw Back to the Future, and then I decided I wanted to play guitar.
What was your first guitar?
My first ever guitar was a no-name brand, and it was a 3-quarter guitar, and the whole thing was like silver glitter.
And what did you think of the Sydney rock scene?
Well, I was a part of that from when I was about 14, 15. I've watched it change so much over the years. Like, so many people have come and gone, and so many bands have come and gone. But as a whole, it's like, I'm really proud to have been a part of it. Like, it made me who I am. I loved it, like sneaking into, I was playing gigs, I just sneak into my own shows back in the day. Like, I remember when I was 15 because they'd ID me. So I'd go in at sound check, and I'd hide in the toilet with the door shut until I opened the doors and then come out and play, or they'd kick me out and I wouldn't get to play my own shows.
Before moving overseas, what Sydney rock bands were you in?
My first band was a band called The Skanks, and that was 2004 to 2005. That broke up, and then I started a band called Lust, and that lasted till about 2011, 2012. After that, I played in numerous bands. It was like, I fell into becoming a session player. I always wanted to do my own thing. And then around that time, it's when the phone started to ring. I'm getting offers from bands, bigger bands that were doing a lot more.
Even though you're at a high right now of your musical career, what were your toughest moments?
The toughest time, I was playing with an Australian band that was supposed to come over and meet me there, and we'd sold everything. The plan was, we sold everything to move there, and the lead singer, for whatever reason, couldn't leave Australia. So I was left high and dry and stranded in LA. So I was sitting there going, what do you mean? Like, sit tight, we'll get back to you. I'm like, what's going on? Eventually, I hear from them after sitting in my apartment, that I'd moved into with just a bag of clothes and a guitar, going, what's happening next? I thought we were going to go tour. So we're not coming out at all. Are you going to come home? I don't have a home to come home to. I sold everything. I thought the plan was to move here. 6 months later, I was backstage at Madison Square Garden with Alice Cooper and Nicky Six, having opened for Motley Crue. I just sold out at Madison Square Garden.
Like, did anyone doubt you or say, you'll never make it?
Oh, every day, man. Every day. Lots of people over the years have doubted me. Even when I first went to the States, there's a lot of people that I think wanted me to fail. And it's one of those things that I've always used that as a fuel. It's always take the negative and turn it into a positive. Since, I was, 13 years old going, I want to play guitar. The Ramones were my favorite band. And there are people now that are going, he's playing with one of them. How the hell did you do that? When rewind to back then, I was like, just you wait and see.
Bet your heroes who is your biggest hero? Just quickly.
Probably, as far as guitar influences are concerned, Ace Frehley or Pete Townsend. Meeting Nicky Six was a really big deal. Like, he was a big inspiration for me, and he continued to be even after meeting him. Because my father flew out to see the last show of the tour, and the moment Nicky found out that my father was there, he came out and had dinner with just the two of us. And just, basically opened up his mental encyclopedia on the music industry, giving advice, asking questions, how have I got to where I've done, where do I want to go, things to be wary of. He talked about how he fought his record label and won, and things like that are, I really appreciated his humility, and like, it was inspiring because he's so smart.
And for all viewers out there, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people inspired when they see this. Do you make a living off music?
Yes. Music is what puts a roof over my head, and groceries in my fridge. Like, it's not easy. The music business is not the Boy Scouts, but it's worth the struggle as far as I'm concerned.
How did you get endorsed by Gibson Guitars, Marshall Amplification?
The Gibson thing came about because when I was still studying music at college, as well as playing in bands and teaching myself, I also used to DJ nightclubs, like rock bars. And I had this bar, this night I used to do a Q bar on Wednesday nights. and I'd just spin like all the music I loved, like Sex Pistols, Ramones, Kiss, Motley Crue, AC/DC, Rose Tattoo, so on and so forth. It was like a rock club, and we'd get guest DJs in, and we had the rep from Gibson come in and spin a set of tunes, and I was finished DJing, and I was sitting there hosting, sorting people out with drinks, saying hi to people. He came up to me and goes, "Hi, nice to meet you. You just played my entire soundtrack to my high school years. That was, pleasure to meet you." And I went, "Oh, cool." And we hit it off, and we spent all night hanging out and talking and drinking, and and then he goes, "Are you in a band?" I went, "Yeah, I actually am. This is when I played in the band Lust." And I gave him my record, and he goes, "Well, yeah, cool, I'll listen to it." And he listened to the record and got back to me and goes, "I love it. This is great. Would you like to work with Gibson Guitars?" And that's when I was about 18 or 19 years old, so about 9 years ago. And we were friends, and it's just grown. An endorsement, it's a relationship that grows. But what a lot of people, musicians, forget is at the end of the day, the musician endorses the brand. The brand doesn't endorse the musician. Like, I play Gibson because there's nothing I like more than a Gibson Les Paul. And the Marshall thing came about through that. I met Marshall through Gibson.
For everyone out there, you did a performance with the Screaming Jets at the Bridge Hotel.
Yeah, on Thursday, yeah.
So how did that come around?
That came about, again, my band Lost. We toured with the Screaming Jets for their Do Ya album in 2008. And we did all of regional Australia. So that was pretty much an entire year out there on the road with the guys. And through that, me and Paul Wazine, the bass player, and Dave Gleason, the singer, became really good friends. 3 years working in the States. And like I said, I've been working on something else here. I've been working on a project with Paul Wazine, Mick O'Shea from Rose Tattoo on drums. And I've got being a guitarist, you always need a singer. I've got this new, young, hot singer. She's incredible. So just sit tuned and you'll see it when it comes out. But we were writing songs. And he was like, "I'm playing in Sydney with the Jets." I went, "Well, I'd love to get up." He goes, "Well, then get up."
What exciting news do you have to tell us?
Play with Richie Ramone again, and I'm also going to be co-writing his new record with him. We toured the whole world last year, so that will definitely be to follow again because we now have the new record. I'm also still working with Frankie and the Studs. We just released the new single, She's Insane, with the video for that, so you can expect a follow-up record. And as well, like I mentioned, what I've been working on writing back here.
What advice would you have for musicians or bands to be successful?
Well, first things first, when it comes to success, you got to define what success is. But defining success is the most important thing. Like, what do you call successful? That'd be my advice, and figure out what that is. And once you know what that is, work backwards. What are the steps that I have to take to get there?
Tommy
Henriksen.
So how did you end up playing for him?
That came about when I played on the Motley Crue Alice Cooper tour. I was hired to play guitar by the Raskins. And the bass player that was hired was Johnny Martin, who's become one of my best friends out in Los Angeles. He's also the bass player in Frankie and the Studs. He was telling me before the tour, like, "Hey, you're going to love Alice Cooper's guitarist, Tom," because Alice has got 3 guitarists. He's got Tommy Henriksen, Ryan Roxy, who was one of my heroes growing up, and it was a pleasure to meet, and Nita Strauss. Nita is amazing. But yeah, Tommy Henriksen, he goes, he's got this solo project, and at the end of the tour, he wants to do some videos. He's got this solo record. I recommended you to play guitar. So once we met on the road, he was like, "This is perfect, let's do it." Funny story, actually. At NAMM, at the start of last year, I caught up with Tommy, because that's in Anaheim, and because I'd love for him to go do a tour of his solo stuff. To play guitar with those songs would be so much fun on the road. But he goes, "Oh, come down, I'm doing this show with the Hollywood Vampires. I'd love you to come check it out." And I'm like, "All right." It was in the gymnasium/auditorium of a high school in Anaheim. And I went with my friend Marco, who played in a band called Sugar Cult. And we went down after NAMM, and I was like, it's like in a high school, we have no idea what to expect. And we go in, and then Tommy's like, he performed, come back, come meet everyone. The dressing room was the basement level of this high school. So he leads us down there, he's like, I gotta go do some stuff with my guitars, just wait here. So I'm sitting there, and it's me, Johnny Depp, Robbie Krieger from The Doors, and Alice Cooper. And I'm sitting there in this basement of a gymnasium, just sitting there like, Alice like, "Hey, good to see you again off the road." And, Johnny's a really nice guy. And I've been playing ping pong earlier with Robbie Krieger at NAMM because we're both at Gibson. But I was sitting there, I remember going, no one's going to believe me when I tell this story. It is so bizarre.
Is there anything else you want to say before we finish?
This has been really cool. And like I said, full circle, this happened to be in the same room I used to teach guitar in many, many years ago. In Zen Studios, I used to teach School of Rock here. I'd come in 9 a.m., on like a Saturday morning after having a gig a Friday night, like bleary-eyed, and, I teach like 10-year-old kids how to basically be in a band and play guitar. I guess all I'd like to say is just to anyone out there watching that, just please keep rock alive, and especially keep Australian rock alive. And thank you. Go to ronniesimmons.com.au.